I'm a speaker at heart. I like speaking to people. I like socializing. I like having friends around me, and that's what I do. I like bringing the good out of people and seeing the good in people. Studied where I needed to study. Found myself in the radio industry. My future was just going to go ahead because I was going to learn about, about the transformers, the site, more in the broadcasting industry. But you know, when life becomes good, it gets hard in the end of the day. So what happened to me was, I then got diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer at that very point.
Siyanamukela ohlelweni lethu lapho khona siphenya ngezifo esiphila nazo ezinokuphazamisa indlela esiphila ngayo usuku nosuku. Lezi zifo ziyakwazi ukushintsha izinga lempilo yazo uma ungayitholi imithi. Sigcine siba umbulali esiphila kanye naye. Kepha ukucilongwa ngoprofessor bezempilo nokushintsha indlela ophila ngayo kuyakwenza ugcine uphila impilo elungile ngokuphelele. Namhlanje sihlangana no Byron MacDonald oneminyaka engu-33. Kwatholakala ukuthi uno stage 4 womdlavuza wekoloni. Ake sizwe indaba yakhe.
So I am 33 as I'm sitting here, and I'm sitting here with stage 4 colon cancer. A lot of people are shocked because they always say, you look so good. It's not always been like that I look so good. I do have my weak days, I do have my good days. I was married before I found out I had cancer, the funny story behind it. And we had a mutual agreement when we got a divorce also. But despite that also, a lot of people might say, yeah, it's because of the divorce that maybe you got more sick or you're finding yourself where you are. But let me just put it like this. I find myself in a better space now. I don't blame anyone that I went through my divorce. And yes, I have 2 kids, 2 previous partners, one out of wedlock, one in my marriage. But today I find myself where I'm engaged with someone that I truly love. I truly fell in love with. She's here with us today, actually, at this moment.
We have known each other since childhood, but we've been together dating for about 2 years. So we started our relationship during his cancer journey, and I'm looking forward to our wedding day, which is coming up soon.
Yeah, so I've been misdiagnosed about 3 times if I'm correct. So what happened during that time is I went to the emergency doctor because I had so much pain in my lower back. And you know, when you have pain and you can't figure out where the pain comes from, you're frustrated, you're angry. And every time I went to this doctor, it's the emergency doctor, he said to me, no, you're still young, here's some laxatives, go poop yourself out, you need to get it. And I took some laxatives, kind of worked, kind of got out of there, but there was blood within my stool. And I repeated this to this doctor also. I went to the doctor again, he misdiagnosed me, and then I went to my normal GP during the day because now I was on pain tablets. I was on tramadol, and all these tablets goes through your liver and stuff. Went to my GP said, unfortunately, because you're so young, and yes, there is history of the disease in your family, but you're also young, we'll send you then for a sonar. We can't send you for a colonoscopy or scan. Those things cost a lot of money, and your medical aid won't cover it because it needs to be approved by a radiologist or something like that. So I went for the sonar, where it says that it malignant tumors on the liver, right? And it says primary tumor impression could be colon, so meaning it's already spread to my liver from my colon at that very moment, at that very point.
Kolonkankers groei stadig en hulle kan eers na 'n lang periode presenteer met simptome, al is hulle teenwoordig vir 'n lang tydperk, selfs tot 5 jaar, voor simptome verskyn. Die diagnose is natuurlik baie traumaties vir die pasiënte. So vanaf die pasiënt die onkoloog vir my sien tot terapie, wil ons natuurlik daai interval is ons doelwit om dit so kort as moontlik te hou. Want die pasiënt is baie angstig en daar's faktore wat hy moet self uitsorteer by sy werk, by sy familie, reis ensovoorts. So daardie tydperk moet so gou as moontlik vasgestel word dat ons dit so kort as moontlik hou.
I needed to start chemotherapy immediately afterwards. But before that, I had to decide if I wanted to do it through my veins or in a port. Now, I've done my research and I've got the port inserted. Now, a port is something you have to insert into your main jugular vein to get chemo through. Some people get it through their arms, but with the research I've done is like your veins get hard and it can't handle the chemo because chemo is poison. And everybody knows it. The doctors know it also. It's a high dosage of poison. It just doesn't just kill your cancer cells. It kills your healthy cells. It attacks the cell. So yeah, I got that insert and then started chemo a couple of weeks later.
We became closer because I was also going through my own hardships when it comes to my relationships. I was engaged and both of us went through a failed relationship, and at the same time he was also dealing with his cancer, and that brought us quite close. We became quite close as friends, and I was also there and he was there. We were both there for each other as a support system during our healing process. So the cancer was also part of the journey with him, and that brought us closer together.
Enige iemand kan kolonkanker kry. Daar hoef nie 'n familiegeskiedenis te wees van kolonkanker nie. Daar hoef nie 'n familiegeskiedenis te wees van genetiese afwykings in die familie nie. En alhoewel dit meer algemeen voorkom in pasiënte ouer as 50 jaar, kan kolonkanker ook voorkom in jonger pasiënte, selfs jonger as 40 jaar oud. In stadium 1 siekte is die oorlewingssyfer 5 jaar oorlewingssyfer 91%. In stadium 2 siekte, waar dit meer net beperkte verspreiding is die oorlewingssyfers 72%. In stadium 3 siekte is die oorlewingssyfer 50 tot 60%. En selfs in stadium 4 siekte, waar daar verspreiding is in die res van die liggaam, is daar selfs 5 jaar oorlewingssyfers van 14 tot 20%. So ons kry hulle siekte onder beheer, ons kry meeste van die siekte vernietig en oorblywende siekte kan dan chirurgies verwyder word. Daarom is selfs stadium 4 siekte deesdae potensieel geneeslik.
So when you're diagnosed with cancer, you know it's the C word. A lot of people get scared and they say it's cancer. So at that immediate point, you go into Google and you find out your prognosis, how long you're going to live, if the doctor hasn't said to you. So you immediately say, what can save my life? There's so many stuff on Google. So many people feed you with info. Eat more mushrooms, go on a ketogenic diet, do these things. And I won't go into the diets because I'm not a dietitian, but I tried most of these things. And yes, I would say certain things help me, but in the end of the day, I'm going to tell you now, it's moderation and balance with anything in your life. I believe. This is my point of view. And this is why I can't give no one else advice on what to do, because we're all individuals and we're not statistics.
Ube nathi futhi emva kwekhefu ukuze ufunde kabanzi ngemvelo yomdlavuza kaByron, futhi nokuzwa ngochwepheshe ngolunye ulwazi lomdlavuza. Senamukela futhi ohlolweni lwethu lapho sizofunda khona ukuthi izinqumo esizithathayo zinomphumelo onjani ezimpilweni zethu. UByron MacDonald uno-stage 4 womdlavuza wekoloni, futhi ukwinqubo yokuthola i-chemotherapy. Useke wacilongwa kahle kabili njengoba esendleleni eyempilweni. Asibone ukuthi yini uByron ekumele ayenze ukulwa lo mdlavuza.
So I'm at chemotherapy at Cape Oncology. So this is my normal 2-week process that I take after my new chemo regime. Normally I was on a different chemo before this, but it depends if the cancer is stable or unstable. We swap the chemo, as you can see where I find myself today. So I'm on a 2-week regime now at the moment. Yeah. So it depends. You get first line of chemotherapy, second line, third line. It all depends if the cancer persists. But some chemo is so toxic that you can't keep someone on that chemo for a long time, then you have to stop it. It also depends on the cancer stability also. Sometimes it happened to me also at the very point, with my understanding, but of course you ask the oncologist more about that.
Daar is baie nuwer medikasies wat ontwikkel word. Die bekendstes vir kolonkanker is teikenterapie, soos dit in Engels noem targeted therapies. En dit word ook gebruik vir kolonkankers. En die algemeenste voorbeelde is wat ons noem die epidermale groeifaktor reseptor, is 'n groot woord, inhibitor. So dit manipuleer die sel dat die kankeraktiwiteit minder word. In kort noem ons dit die EGFR inhibitor. Of ons het anti-angiogenese terapie, wat beteken 'n middel word gebruik saam met chemoterapie om die bloedvoorsiening na tumorweefsel so min as moontlik te maak. En dan is daar nie bloedvoorsiening vir die kankersel nie en die kankersel kan nie groei nie.
So the oxy is the one chemo I get, that's a more toxicity one. And then the 5FU is a pump I take home. So chemo is more IV. So as you can see the pipeline, which you can see also, where you get your chemo through also. So yeah, some of the risks are like your heart failure. It all depends also your organs gets a risk, your liver and stuff like that also. So yes, you are shrinking the cancer, but you're still taking a lot of toxicity inside of your body also. But that's a risk with any drug that needs to take out stuff. So when you're fighting your good blood cells, you're also fighting your bad the bad ones. You are fighting the good ones also. So it's dying off also. So there is a lot of risk factors involved. Like it depends also like the side effects. So for example,
what worries me and what is concerning to me about Byron's cancer journey and his diagnosis is the constant pain that he experiences every day. And I would say also, people think that the chemotherapy, when people know that you're in chemotherapy, they think it's going to heal him. But what they don't understand is that it's a stage 4 terminal cancer. There is no cure for his disease. The chemotherapy is there to extend his life, and hopefully it works. Hopefully it does what it should to keep the cancer at bay and to help extend his life. But at the same time, it's also breaking down his body. So he deals constantly when he goes for chemotherapy, which is now every 2 weeks. He doesn't just deal with the pain of the cancer. He also deals with recovering from the chemo, or what the aftermath of what the chemotherapy does to his body. But at the same time, you also have to decide what is going to be best. Going through chemo, or him not receiving chemo, but that could also have a negative effect on his health in the long run. So I suppose just weighing up the options as to what's going to be best for him and his journey.
When you get it, you won't feel it immediately, because it still needs to go through your bloodstream. It depends on who you are also, but normally maybe for a couple of hours later or 2-3 hours later, you'll feel probably some of the effects on certain things. Hopefully on a good day you feel nothing. It all depends also on your body system on that day also, with my experience, because I can't speak for everybody. If you have maybe a high dosage of oxy, right, you get that cold sensitivity. If it feels like your knives is going down your throat, you drink a little bit of even room temperature cold water on the first 2-4 days, but that's just that, and nausea can hit through the roof. See, all chemos don't react the same, and like I said, with your body also, and your tolerance also on your body at the end of the day. That's why a lot of people break down. Your age comes into factor, your health on your body comes into factor, how active you are also, and tolerance. But the bad day can be really bad, where you have fatigue for a couple of days. Like I was on this other chemo, it was poor form, and you should think it's weaker. It's called Stavarga, but I promise you, I was my liver was giving a lot of problems because of that chemo also. So yeah, there is a lot of risk factors. You can damage your organs also, and that's the risk in the end of the day. So on a financial point of view, so even if though you're on medical aid, right? So it depends what chemo you're on. So your medical aid can be exhausted by July already in the half of the year. And then you have to put the co-payment in of 20%. It depends what type of medical aid you also have. Like I'm on a good plan, I pay already through the roof for medical aid, right? So now on top of that,
each month now, if you have to chip in, because Medicaid will then only pay a certain amount, and because you get a budget first, the budget is depleted, then you have to chip in whatever is about that. And trust me, because of other, you go scans, you go for treatments, and the chemo can sometimes go up to 80,000 rand per session, and remember every 2 weeks. So you can sit with a bill easily in another year by 300, 200,000 rand out of pocket. That's without Medicaid. Like myself, I work daily. I still work as I'm here for 3 years now. And I think for 3 years, I've been on this treatment. For 3 years, I had to try to cover bills and stuff. Like I'm on my knees, I promise. I'm on my knees with a lot of stuff. You think you've earned good money, but in the end of the day, you still have to. And people think, you want to Medicaid. Nah. In the end of the day, you suffer with the finances of these things. You have to sell certain things or get certain things, because you still have to go get the chemo. You still have to see the doctor in the end of the day.
It's been really hard to see Byron. Okay. So it's been quite hard witnessing what he has been going through, because a few months ago, there was a time in his journey when he felt that he was going to stop chemo. He was in so much pain. He was experiencing, his liver was compromised because there was overgrowth of cancer on his liver, and during this time he was battling mentally, was battling with it. And this is what people don't see, is how he remains strong, or how he finds the strength and digs up that strength deep within himself and brings it up again, even in the moments where he feels weak, or even in the moments where he's struggling physically and mentally and emotionally with this disease. Because at the end of the day, you're not just dealing with the disease, you're also dealing with life. You're dealing with your finances, relationships, your kids, all the other pressures that life also has on top of you, and your cancer. So we were crying on the couch one night, and when he said to me he's ready, he thinks he's going to stop chemo because he doesn't feel his body strong enough to continue anymore. I said to him, I understand, and I will be here throughout this for you. But I don't feel ashamed if you feel you're not strong enough. I know that you want to be a source of inspiration for others, and at the same time it helps you in your journey as well. But don't feel ashamed for the choice that you're going to make. But what was spectacular was the next morning, because he was scheduled for the chemo the next day. The next morning he woke up with this newfound strength, this new mindset, positivity as always. And I realized that was a difficulty that he was dealing with mentally, which everybody does. But the fact that he could get himself out of that mental heaviness was what was inspiring for me, and that is what I draw strength from each and every day.
You know how I stayed positive, and how I do stay positive every day? It's because I have to understand that my life needs to be lived on my side. And I have to think I'm not living for someone else, I'm living for myself at the end of the day. Because every time I make excuses, I need to live for my partner, I need to live for my kids, I need to live for this one, I need to live for that one. But no, you need to first understand you need to live for yourself. And that's when you take responsibility and understand. And when I started staying positive, it's because I've always been a guy that loved life, enjoyed life, optimistic, got out there, enjoy things that I do. So that's why today I always tell myself, if you want to stay positive, move forward with that thinking that life is one day at a time.
Siyanamukela futhi ku-Killers in Our Midst. Sihlangane noByron ngesikhathi elwa ustage 4. Kona uByron wenza konke okusemandleni akhe elwa nomdlavuza nokuya kwi-chemotherapy. Ngebhadi uByron wagcina enqotshwa yilesifo ngomhla ka-3 February. Manje sihlangana nomndeni wakhe ukuzwa ngefa elikhulu alishiya ngemumva.
Yeah, to get rid of the toxins, he needed the stents. Because all the arteries was blocked in his liver. In January, went in for the op, but the op was really a success. And it was a Thursday, and the next Thursday, Byron passed.
I remember when he was in hospital, he still wanted to get out of bed. I mean, on the last day, on the day that he passed, he still said that he wants to get out of bed because laying in the bed is depleting his energy, and he wants to stand and he wants to build up his strength again, because he wants to fight and he wants to survive, and that is the fighting spirit that he had was just so inspiring. He never gave up, and he loved life.
It sometimes gets a little bit harder, but my son made it so easy on us that when he was sick, he never bothered us like, you know, our cancer patients are. But he was one of those strong, courageous. To me, he was a hero, and for that, I'll always miss my son.
I feel that many people, they always question why me, you know, why life is so unfair, why is this happening to me, but why not you? Instead of seeing your adversity as suffering or as a punishment, what can you gain out of it? How can you turn your pain into purpose? And that is what he did so well. He turned his pain into purpose, and he lived his purpose. He inspired so many people, and he's respected and loved by so many. And when he passed, the outpour of support that I witnessed on his social media account was phenomenal, and it was so touching.
No one's disease is the same. No one's cancer is the same. Even if you have the same name, say both of you have stage 4 colon C4C cancer, it does not mean my prognosis is the same as yours. And this is the thing I want to get across as not a doctor, but as a human living my life. No one knows your body better than you know your body. And this machine is so powerful, and I treat it as a machine. As soon as you understand everything you put into this machine is your responsibility, is your understanding, that's the way you will understand how to live with your body and how to treat your body, because this is a miraculous thing. Have you heard about miracles? People get cured when the doctor said they're gonna die the next day. No one knows why. We don't know if it's just the mind, but this body has a way of healing itself because of moderation, balance, and understanding yourself.
Enkumbulweni kaByron MacDonald, ube ubaba, ingane, indoda, futhi beyisibani sethemba ebantwini bonke. Ukhumbule ukubuka isiqephu sethu sangesonto elizayo ukuze sifunde ngomunye umbulali esiphila kanye naye.